finally get paid for the get down. You can't tell me shit now about time. Do you know how many lines I done put down? Vibes I done sent out, but we ain't here to dig. I'll up the market till they come red carpet the kids. Success still the target, soon I'll be crossing that bridge. But can't bring everybody with me, family only. I got some people think I owe a favor, barely know me. That's why my focus on the road, it's all I know. I see them sticking close to play the wall.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Atriox, and today I've got a fun video for you guys. So I've been thinking about some ideas for future Mortal Kombat videos over the last couple of days when I came across a comment on the video I made about Mortal Kombat 1 versus Mortal Kombat 11 and the comparison between the two games. A video definitely worth to watch in my opinion if you guys have the time. The comment pretty much said that the MK11's variation system destroys the cameo system, which is flawed and broken, and that 99% of fans didn't want it. Now, is that true? Is that true? I think it's just a matter of opinion and just what side of the fence you fall on. And because it honestly made me think about the two combat systems, the cameo system and the variation system, about how vastly different they are from a regular fighting system such as MK9, where the character has full access to their abilities with no restrictions, which, you know, for me as an old school fan was kind of like what I like. But anyways, let's compare the recent combat systems we've gotten in the NRS era. We'll be talking about the general system and not any small additions to each game gives. I think that's a good place to start at. For some reason, Mortal Kombat has always tried to innovate their combat system every single game, which is most notable in the NRS era.
Bigger and better and stronger than ever before.
Basically, you know, Mortal Kombat 9 was more close to the original games, and then you have MK11 and MKX that do variation systems, although I think the MKS one was the better version. And then we also have the cameo system, which, you know, Mortal Kombat 1, the most recent Mortal Kombat. But let's begin with Mortal Kombat 9. It's honestly probably my favorite Mortal Kombat of all time. It really just built upon a lot of the great features of previous Mortal Kombat games and just put it all together like as well as he possibly could. Having every move available to you without being locked behind some kind of variation or cameo is just great, dude. MK9 really just did it the right way, in my opinion. I remember spending hours upon hours in the practice mode learning new combos with Kun Lao, Sonya, Sindel, and Sector. The hours I spent in the King of the Hill after work were probably some of the most fun I've had in a Mortal Kombat game. Like, I used to stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning almost every night with a bunch of the guys that I met and are honestly still friends to this day. And looking back at it now, that game really had me addicted to it. Like, that's all I could think about when I used to get out of work. I used to work at an ice cream place, and after I used to get out at like 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 2-3 o'clock, I'll go home and then come turn on the game and just hop in the lobby, the King of the Hill, which I think like the combat, like, yo, multiplayer on MK9 was so good. Like the King of the Hill, we used to have little avatars throwing tomatoes and all types of little gimmicky stuff. It's kind of cool. The simple combat system of having every move available to you with just having to learn how to implement it was just what made Mortal Kombat in my opinion. But if you know anything about NRS, you know things don't stay the same. The sequel to Mortal Kombat 9, MKX, definitely was vastly different to MK9, implementing a new system that they started with Injustice 2, I believe it was. They introduced a new variation system to Mortal Kombat. This was a departure from the usual combat system in Mortal Kombat, with moves being locked behind certain variations. It changed the way you would normally approach a fight, depending on your opponent, or if you were comfortable with a particular variation. It would make it so you would put more thought into your selection. While unique, it did feel weird at first, not being able to access all your character's abilities, but it did take a little time, and I definitely adjusted to it after a while. But with each variation, it did such a simple job of simplifying things. With each variation, you could focus on a particular way you wanted to play. You know, we got characters kind of like Kun Lao, who in one variation could be like the hat trap variation, which would be, it would kind of make it more of a gadgety type character. Like, I remember having to like place hats mid combos or right before I start my combos just to get it off the right way, versus the buzzsaw, which gives it more of like a rush down capabilities. And honestly, I think the buzzsaw one was probably my favorite one because it's like the most like akin to like MK9 Kung Lao in my opinion. But anyways, honestly, MKX did a great job with these variations. I think it was fun, and it's a big reason, along with some other mechanics, that I feel like a lot of people hold MKS in such high regard. And like I think that they did change with variation systems, but they kept the core gameplay like what it was, like, you know, having a bit ability to run and like the fast pace of MKX and the combos was awesome. I think the only thing that was kind of like a little off for me is just the overall roster. Like I wasn't a huge fan of, but it is what it is. The gameplay was actually pretty damn good. Now, the second iteration of the variation system, which MK11 employed, was honestly, it was just weird. Okay, to start with, you had a few different variations where you could play competitively. However, if you wanted to bring a custom variation, you weren't allowed in Combat League with it, which is kind of strange when you consider that the whole point of the that's kind of like the whole point of the variation system. But I guess certain moves, if they were put together, would make certain characters strong, and they want to keep the game balanced. Either way, the variation system has some holes in it, but the whole system is a bit weird, especially when you realize some of the moves are missing, like Sub-Zero's Ice Clone, which was kind of ridiculous when you really think about it. Like Sub-Zero's was probably one of Sub-Zero's most iconic moves. It's just missing. But anyways, I guess it is what it is. The custom variation system works on like a system of slots. You had a maximum of 3 slots per variation, and some of the moves costed 2 slots. So in some variations, custom variations, obviously, you would have 2 moves versus others where you would have 3 moves, depending on the choices you would make. And either way, you can only use these variations in casual, I believe. I'm not sure if they ever made it so you could do it in Combat League. I doubt it, just because I think they want to keep the game balanced. Because like towards the tail end of MK11, like I was kind of on and off with the game because I was playing a lot more games like Rocket League and, you know, just other games, because I wasn't a huge fan of MK11's combat system, if you guys couldn't tell. So like, you know, it kind of drew me in every now and then I'll go back and play it, but like it wasn't something enough to hook me like long term where I would just keep playing it. You know what I mean? I think the game that really did that the best is probably MK9 and MKX. Like those games, you know, I really enjoyed the way they played. But if I'm being honest, like I said, I'm more of a fan of MKS's variation system over MK11's. It just felt better, and it felt like they put more thought into it versus, you know, MK11's variation system. But again, NRS is no stranger to change. Looking for the next combat system, they eventually made their way to an assist fighter, aka the cameos, which, let's be honest, isn't the most beloved combat system. Some characters are super reliant on certain cameos, which is kind of ridiculous because cameos should be an assist that help make your character better, not be a necessity to make a character work. And some cameos honestly are a bit too strong, if I'm being honest. Being able to mask your weaknesses depending on what cameo you pick, which in theory should be a good thing, but when you really take the fact that if a top tier character uses a certain cameo, let's take Johnny Cage for example, it almost feels impossible to defeat a Johnny Cage when you're a certain character and they have their cameo that can kind of like hide their weaknesses, which it could be a little overwhelming and discouraging, especially if you're an average casual Mortal Kombat player. Honestly, a system like this is hard to make fair in my opinion, because each of the playable characters just plays ultimately differently. You don't want all the characters to play the same, so of course a meta will be introduced, which if you like to play a certain cameo can put you in a disadvantage. Like me, Scorpion and Sonya are like some of my favorite cameos. Mind you, I know they're not like the best in the game, but you know, they're just like my favorite cameos, and I'll always use them. Like I'm not I don't know, Chameleon and Farah and all the other ones. Like I haven't really experimented with them, to be fair, but like, you know, I mean, I played with it. I don't know, it's like I'm not a fan of their cameos. I like Sonya and Scorpion more, so like, you know, I know I'm at a disadvantage in terms of like this is the damage output that I can put, but I do enough damage where it's not even that big of a deal in my opinion. Like, but you know, just having cameos be not like where like it needs to be for all characters, and like honestly making some characters like stupid hard to fight against is just where I'm getting at with that part. However, to be fair, NRS is introducing new moves for older cameos, making them more viable in the new meta. So slowly but surely they are making the older cameos a bit more balanced and like keeping it so it's more, you know, about who you select. Because like if you look at it, they have like this one move where Sub-Zero grabs your character and somebody will hit you and they'll become frozen. Or in the newest trailer, or not even trailer but teaser, Sonya has like her dive kick into an upward kick, which is an ambush move. So they are introducing newer moves to these older characters, which I think is pretty cool. Or even like Scorpion's little fire move where he sets himself on fire, sets you on fire to do more damage over time if enemies near you, I believe. But again, it's an interesting system, but I feel like this is one of those one-offs where we see it for one game and just move on from it.
Oh, I forgot. You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore.
And like I think that pretty much wraps up like the different types of cameo systems, just like in general, in terms of like, you know, the cameo system, the variation systems, and then MK9 system. Well, if I had to pick a particular fighting game system, I'm old school, so I want every ability available, no gimmicks, it's a plain old 1v1 fight. And of course, no cameos taking away moves from my main characters. Like, why the heck does Kung Lao not have his spin attack? That's one thing I really hate about Mortal Kombat 1. It's the way they kind of just took away all of his moves. But hey, we'll talk about that later. MK9, in my opinion, had it right. If they were ever able to make the combat system as fast-paced as MKS was, then that would have been the perfect Mortal Kombat game, in my opinion. But if you want my thoughts on other systems, I guess I could start with Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11's variation system, it was just bad in my opinion. The custom variations were kind of useless outside of casual fights. Characters were missing special moves. It was slow, it was clunky, it just made it really boring to play. With so many escapes, it made it feel like sometimes the game would stall at times. And then the crushing blows would be just like easy, quick damage for, you know, doing basically nothing but countering or full combo. It just, in my opinion, like it just felt so casual friendly for Mortal Kombat 11. I think that's why I didn't enjoy it that much, was because like I like more complicated. I like, you know, being able to punish and do stuff like that, and I felt like MK11's fighting system was more for the casual audience, which is fine. You know, like every game's not going to be for a particular part of the audience, so I'm not mad at it, but you know, that's just kind of explaining why I didn't really care for it that much. Then we have MK1's cameo system, which leaves much to be desired. So cameos use special moves that should belong to actual playable characters. For example, Kung Lao cameo, who has literally almost every single Kung Lao move. He took his low hat, he took his spin, he took his teleport. He literally took every main move, I think, outside of the buzzsaw and the dive kick. He literally took everything from my boy. Like, it makes no sense why Kung Lao has nothing that makes him like recognizable. Like, he has all these new moves, sure, but like a lot of his moves that are Kung Lao is just not there. It's just weird. But you know, that's just my little gripe with Mortal Kombat 1.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
And honestly, like, the way the actual combat system is kind of flawed in my opinion when it comes to the cameos. Which an assist fighter? Assist fighter should be helping. It shouldn't be over reliance for certain characters. Like, having cameos not work properly, having the characters not work properly without certain cameos is bad design in my opinion. But because like you shouldn't have characters that need a certain cameo to function when you got other characters like Johnny Cage, Peacekeeper, Homelander, that like the assists are what they are. They're assisting in their damage. Even Ermac and Takeda, like, they have high ceiling damage, and then you have other characters that need certain cameos to work properly. I just don't think it's very good in terms of like some of the casts. Like, the DLC fighters are fine, but like some older casts need to be worked on well after the game is out, just to kind of like make it more fair for them. But anyways, moving on to MKS, which in my opinion was honestly just brilliant, experimenting slightly with a new variation system, which kept the core of what made Mortal Kombat great. The add of the run mechanic, tugging on nostalgia from like Mortal Kombat 3 era. Like, the way the combos were made in that game was just chef's kiss, bro. Like, I really love this game as not just, and like I'm just not a big fan of the roster of Mortal Kombat X, but everything else in combat system, even like the dark tone with it, it's just like awesome in my opinion, and it brings it back to like how Mortal Kombat should be. It's a darker game, and with like elements of vibrant like colors and stuff like that. But anyways, now let's talk about Mortal Kombat 9, which will always have a special place in my heart. I absolutely love the combat system for Mortal Kombat 9. So many characters were busted, dude. Like, it was a controlled chaos. The roster was just fire.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Like, and not only that, they had only one guest character, being Freddy Krueger, with 3 MK DLC characters. Obviously, the start of their DLC characters, the additions, right? But I can still go back, even to this day, and just have a good gaming session of Mortal Kombat 9 and just like not coming away from it having a bad experience. It was such a good freaking game, dude. Like, I don't even know how else to say it. Like, if they ever remastered MK9, I'm buying the collector's edition immediately, without a doubt.
Sir, here is a check with my name on it. Write down any number on this piece of paper and I will pay it.
You had full access to your move list. You had breakers. You were able to bounce your opponents to extend combos. Just to name a few mechanics. Like, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the sub mechanics, but I just felt like with Mortal Kombat 9, it had such a good way of fighting, and it was just fun. When it came to the characters, you knew if you saw a Katana, a Cyrax, Johnny, or Cabal, you knew you really had to lock in, especially with Cabal and Cyrax. Bro, they were a freaking pain in the ass to deal with if you didn't know what you were doing. Especially, Cabal's dash cancels were gross back in the day. And then Cyrax's bomb trap combos that would last for, oh my god, I could just, man, I could make a whole video on how much I love MK9, dude, and just all the shit I remember from back in those days. But anyways, in my opinion, I love MK9. Like, MK9 was my game, but like, I just really think that MK9 was the best in my opinion. They had no gimmicks, no fancy gadgets, just combat. It was fun combat, bro.
Okay, bozos, no jokes, no gimmicks, just combat. You want to get nuts? Oh, let's get nuts.
Like, that's what I feel like a lot of these newer games, I just don't feel like I have the same amount of fun as I had back then. I just feel like it's missing in Mortal Kombat. But that's what I think is the best in terms of the combat system. Like, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Which NRS system is your favorite, and why is it Mortal Kombat 9? Okay, let me stop joking. But in all seriousness, what's your favorite Mortal Kombat fighting system, and why? Like, why in particular do you like it? Is it because of like the actual combat system plus the roster, or just give me your opinion in the comment section below. I'm curious to hear what everyone else's opinion is. I'm sure I'll get a lot of MKX and a bunch of MK9. MK9, like, I love MK9, bro. Like, you can't convince me it wasn't the best experience. Like, especially when in terms of talking about your opinion. Like, I felt like with MK9, they allowed people to just do crazy shit. Like, the characters were busted and broken, and like, there were so many characters that were broken in the game, it just made it fun. Versus like nowadays, where we saw in that tournament recently, last 2 tournaments, the major tournaments, you had Johnny Cage and what's his name, and Peacekeeper. Like, those were like, almost every freaking fight. Like, it's so annoying. It's so boring to watch when it's like that. And I felt like with MK9, they had so many busted characters in that game that, you know, you had a variety of people. You had freaking Kung Lao, Kitana, Cyrax, Cabal, Sindel, just to name a few that were like constantly, I feel like back in tournaments, if I remember correctly, like man, it just feels different, like talking about like Mortal Kombat 9, especially after like just going back and playing it like for this video for particular parts. I remember I was just like having fun. I'm like, damn, dude, I don't want to start playing this game again. But anyways, guys, like, I just wanted to make this video after reading that comment. I thought it was an interesting comment, and just talking about those combat systems. Like, again, which is your favorite one? Do you like Mortal Kombat X? Do you like Mortal Kombat 11s? Do you like the MK1s or MK9s? Like, just let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. That's all I got for this video. I just kind of wanted to go over that part, but I'm out of here. Have a good rest of your day. Remember, leave a like and comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. You know, if there's any particular video ideas you guys want to see me go over, leave it in the comment section below. We'll check it out eventually. But anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.
please fill my cup. Am I really asking for much? It's been a long week, I'm looking for fun. Please fill my cup, find me under the sun. SOS, I'm just looking for a good time. Whoa.